how he does this. This is a Pauper deck tech video. This is a Grixis Amass deck. It's not very competitive, it's kind of casual, it's just what I play with, and it's fun. Most of the cards in Japanese, so I got translations open. I'm just going to give a rundown of what the deck does. It's Grixis Midrange, so you know, it does some controlling, it does some aggroing, it does a bit of both. It's got a full sideboard too, despite not being that good and competitive. I'm going to play some more games, make some revisions, maybe see how things go. Anyways, onto the actual cards themselves. Now, first up we got the card draw spells. So, we got 4 copies of Honor the God Pharaoh. It's a pretty great card. I got the positioning on that right. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. This is Honor the God Pharaoh. It's sorcery speed, you know, of course, it's a looting spell. You discard a card, you draw 2 cards. Pretty nice. You amass 1 as well. Here's a zombie token. If I can find my stuff. Give me a moment. God, my room is a mess. I know I have these somewhere. So basically, to amass is, if you don't already have a zombie army token, you create a zombie army. Then, pretend I have a dice for just 1 moment. Then, you put a counter on it to show that it is amassed once. Now, if you were to amass a second time with an army already in play, then you would increase the number of counters by however much you're amassing. It is a really cool mechanic. It is probably my favorite mechanic in the entire game, and we need more printings of it. That's also the reason I'm playing this, because I just love Amass. It's so fun. Anyways, card draw, pretty nice. Next up, we've got a fun card, just 2 of. This is Spark Reaper. It's a 3 mana 2/3. You can pay 3 and sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. We don't really care, Pauper doesn't have planeswalkers. Pay 3, sack a creature, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. It's a sack outlet. There are some cards in here that want to die in order to amass. This allows us to trigger those abilities and gain some life and draw cards at the same time. 1 copy of Brainstorm, because when you're playing Pauper, you've got to run a Brainstorm. There's only 1 copy. There's only 2 ways to shuffle the. There's only 2 fetch lands in this deck, so we're only running 1. Otherwise, you know, it's not really that great because we mess up our next 2 draws. Also, 1 Barren Moor. Yeah, it's a land, but it cycles and it's pretty neat. Just 1 of 8 draw spells. It's pretty nice. And then next we've got Toll of the Invasion. 4 copies. These are our control spells. 4 discard spells. It's 3 mana. It's a 3 mana Thoughtseize. 3 mana, look at target opponent's hand and choose a non-land card. They discard it. It amasses once. So we're going to be discarding cards, looking at people's hands, and creating zombie armies and making them bigger. Next up, we've got Callous Dismissal. This is a fun card. It's a 2 mana unsummon at sorcery speed. But MetaN, how's that good? You amass once. Terrible, terrible card, but I love it. Spark Harvest. This is another one. This is Bone Shards, but better. It is a direct upgrade. It's identical, except instead of sacrificing a creature, you can just pay an additional 3 mana. Or it might be an additional 4 mana. Instead of paying, you can pay 4 mana or sacrifice a creature. You get the option. But there are creatures that want to die, so it's great spot removal for creatures in Pauper. 1 mana, you know? Then next we've got Sorin's Thirst. Deals 2 damage to any creature and you gain 3 life. That's a pretty funky card. And then we've got Teferi's Time Twist. This is like a pseudo-ephemerate. Blinks a creature, but it comes back with a +1/+1 counter on it. Lovely, lovely card. Now the cards we want to blink, of course. Here we have, for instance, Lazotep Reaver. This is probably the best card in the entire deck. May not look like much, being just a 2 mana 1/2, but when it enters the battlefield, it amasses once. We can blink this thing with, say, Time Twist, and the zombie token will come in, right? We can blink it. When it enters, it makes a zombie token. We can blink it, and what will happen is it'll enter a second time. It'll enter again, triggering Amass, making our zombie army bigger, but it'll also enter with a +1/+1 counter on it, making itself bigger. After Lazotep Reaver, we've got just 3 obs. This is Ava Eternal. It costs an extra mana, but it has 1 more power, and it has flying, and it amasses once. After that, we've got Cura's Dambreaker. I might be going a bit fast, this is just how I am. Cura's Dambreaker, might as well say amass 1 on it. It's a 6 mana 5/6 with Proliferate. Now this is great because it makes the zombie army bigger because it's proliferating the tokens on it, but any any counters we get from Teferi's Time Twist on our other creatures get proliferated too. This card's also able to go up against the big beaters of the format, like I always forget the name. The big 5/5s, like the one that gains you life, and Gurmag Angler, for instance. That's like a quarter of meta. A lot of decks play Gurmag because it's just such a good card. After that, we've got the creatures that want to die. Grim Initiate, for instance. 1 mana 1/1 with First Strike. Pretty good card. And when it dies, you amass once. The value in this thing. Then we've got, I believe this is Dreadhorde General. Nope, Herald of the Dreadhorde. Japanese cards, man. Herald of the Dreadhorde. 4 mana for a 3/2, but when it dies, you amass not once, but twice. Awesome card. Now, onto our lands. I know, we're running 3... This land isn't very good, but we're in Pauper, so... 4 copies of Gateway Plaza. It enters tapped, and you have to sacrifice it when it enters, unless you pay 1 mana. However, it taps to add 1 mana of any colour. And in a deck that's got 3 colours, in a common-only land base, mana base, this is actually not that bad. Plus, we're not like the most aggro of decks, so we don't really mind the downside too much. 4 copies of that. Remember the Brainstorm I mentioned? Well, we've got Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. I didn't feel like searching through my storage for a second Evolving Wilds, so this will just have to do. They do the exact same thing. You can sacrifice it to search your library for any basic land and put it into the battlefield tapped. Awesome card, great for mana fixing. Next up we've got 2 Rakdos tapped duels, 2 Izzet tapped duels, and 1 Dimir tapped duel. We got 3 swamps, 3 islands, and 2 mountains. Don't know why I choked on that. Also, our tokens. I love the tokens because they kind of change. There's 3 tokens. 1 for when the army's just starting out, 1 for as it grows a little bit larger, and there it is, and 1 for when it is like really big. That's just nice. Now onto the sideboard. I know, the sideboard in this deck is actually kind of yoked. So first of all, we've got 3 copies of Heartfire. So Heartfire, 2 mana, you have to sacrifice a creature in order to play it, which, you know, synergizes well with the creatures that want to die. 4 damage to any target. It's like a lightning bolt, but like, you know, slightly. Obnixilus's Cruelty. I love this card. Remember Gurmag Angler I brought up? Yeah. 3 mana, target creature gets -5/-5 until the end of the turn. And if it would die this turn, exile it instead. It's an awesome card. Like, I don't see this deck. I don't see this card ever, but it's a pretty great card for Pauper, I'd say. Next up we've got Stealth Mission, 3 copies. This is great for like, because it's 3 mana, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, and it can't be blocked this turn. It just allows you to get stuff like your zombie army or your Cura's Dambreaker through for like big damage and possibly lethal. After that, we've got 4 copies of Lose Focus. I understand I only have 1 copy of Lose Focus, but I need to replace the Crush Distance. This is a terrible, terrible counterspell. Lose Focus does exactly the same thing, except it has Replicate, but doesn't have Amass too. I'm not feeling that great about losing out on the Amass too, but I do feel good about being able to actually counter people's stuff. And then 2 copies of Kai's Ghost Form. This is just temporary. I'm going to replace the rest of the Dissonance with Lose Focus, and I'm going to replace these 2 probably with Cruelty and Heartfire respectively to fill out the sideboard a bit. This is overall just my what it is. I'm probably looking to get another Grim Initiate and probably change things around a little bit more, but for the most part, this is my Grixis Midrange Amass Pauper deck. Deck tech, if you will. That's it. I'll write up a list and put it in the description. That's all, pretty much. I got nothing else to say. Hope you liked it. Share with your friends. I don't know. This is MetaN. What do you do? I'm new to this YouTube thing. What do you do? Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, that's. Is that cringe? I'm lost. Do I say like a catchphrase or stay yoked? I don't want that to catch on. Peace.